This might be one of the most recognisable race cars in the history of Hollywood. Let's turn this original Monogram kit into the iconic City Chevrolet as we remember it from Days of Thunder. G'day. This build is the original issue 1/24 scale Monogram kit, but if you're wanting to build the Days of Thunder car, you no longer need this particular kit. The decoration is now available aftermarket, and it's better than the original, and you just need to find a Chev Lumina stock car kit, of which there are several. This original is moulded in mostly yellow plastic, but it's going to need painting. For the body colour, I went with the fluoro yellow and fluoro green from SMS because they're easy to find here in Australia, and most importantly, I think they're a pretty close colour match. Starting with the wheels and tyres, in the movie the wheels are black most of the time. In the kit, they're shiny chrome. Same deal with the rear spoiler. So, into the special sauce for a couple of minutes and the plating is gone and the parts are ready for the next step. Interestingly, the finish of the plastic on the rims and spoiler is much smoother than the finish on all the other parts in the kit and resembles what you'd see on a Lego brick. So I guess that's what they need to do to achieve the shiny plating. The tyres are a rubbery-like soft plastic. They have chunky Goodyear and Eagle lettering embossed on the sidewall on one side, and they're fairly smooth on the other. You're supposed to paint the raised lettering, but NASCAR tyres don't have raised lettering, so I decided to flip the tyres around on the rim and have the smooth surface facing out. Now, neither the kit or the aftermarket decals include tyre sidewall markings, but I have some Goodyear stencils from another project, so I could mask and spray the lettering, but I had a problem. The wheel rims have an outer and inner half, and since I was turning the tyres back to front, the outer half stuck out of the tyre, so I had to carve a lip that's moulded into the inside of the tyre to enable the two halves of the rim to come together properly. I also sanded the tyres down and removed a lot of flash, which is a bit of a messy job. This is all the crap that's produced from doing the tyres, but I think overall the effort is worth it. Parts preparation is pretty straightforward. Cut off the sprue, clean up the seam lines and attachment points, cement some parts together that will be painted the same colours, such as the engine block, the extractors, parts of the front end, the rear end, and some of the roll cage. Some of this gets temporarily taped together to check fit and clearances and making sure the body fits. And I discovered the body is not symmetrical. The right side extends beyond the bottom edge of the chassis and the left side is pretty close to flush. These initial preparations included the clear parts and checking how the windows are going to fit in their holes. Out of the box, there were scuffs in the front windshield that needed to be sanded and polished out. This was the first time I'd used this little photo etch saw, and while they're a bit fiddly to use, they work really well to cut the clear parts off the tree because cutters often fracture the plastic and affect the part itself. It's best to prime parts before painting them colour, so the various assembled pieces and all the other bits were mounted to sticks and given a light spray of either grey primer or in some cases black primer. The body has a recess to accept all the window pieces, so I masked and sprayed these semi-gloss black in the hope I could just drop the windows in later without having to paint their edges. The black then had to be masked on the outside and the inside so that the body could be primed. Again, grey surfacer because I find that easier to spot any problems, such as smoothing where the rear bumper attaches, which needed a little bit of filler, and of which I forgot to photograph. The body and bonnet then got a coat of Tamiya white primer, ready to accept the body colours, starting with the yellow. And wow, is this bright. The video and photos do not do this justice. The fluoro is a flat colour, and once I'd done the entire car to keep it a consistent base, on went the green. And like the Fireball 500 build, nervous times carefully getting the gradient fade the right spread and position on the model. I have to admit I was just raw dog in this. I didn't have time to test samples or do practice runs. It would either work or it wouldn't. A quick coat of SMS Super Clear went over the fluoro to give a surface that the decals could adhere to. All the masking has to be removed before the decoration can go on. The The kit decals looked intact and might have worked okay, but the aftermarket set by Powerslide is superior in every way. For one, they include all the markings. For some reason, the Days of Thunder license with Paramount Pictures prevented Monogram from including everything in the original. Secondly, Powerslide provide extra decals so you can model the real race car that Greg Sachs drove. Thirdly, they are just an all-round better product. They went on easily. I used the Microscale and Microscale solutions to help that along, and I can't say there were any real issues. The lower skirt on the right side received a black decal that was left over from another project. Same deal with the black square on the headlight. Neither the kit or the aftermarket decals included this, and it appeared on the car in a lot of scenes, so I cut this to shape and applied it. A couple of quick coats of clear went over this the next day, but I didn't have time to properly wet sand and polish multiple coats for that glassy professional look. But despite that, it looks okay, I reckon. The bonnet has 4 blind holes across the front for the hood pins. I just used the kit parts, which are plated, and fixed them in place with crystal clear. Instead of painting, I put a piece of bare metal foil on the fuel filler nozzle and then burnished it down and cut the excess away with a hobby knife. Some panel line wash was added later to give it some depth. A lot of black wash was used on the mesh parts of the intake grills. The Lumina lettering on the front air dam is recessed, so thinned black paint fills those nicely. I used Tamiya acrylic here because it's easy to clean up if something goes wrong. Now, while the paint and decals were curing, progress continued on the engine and the chassis and other components. The cage and chassis were hit with SMS Storm Grey. This is all pretty much as per the instructions. The only extra detail was the foil heat shield that I put on the floor for the driver. All the roll bar padding and the window net is brush painted. As you can see, Monogram has included varying textures in the mould to represent the different materials used on a real car. I didn't bother to properly paint or detail the top of the fuel cell as it's completely hidden once the body is fitted. The extractors are not what you'd call a great fit to the engine, so I braced them with the tailpipes until the cement had cured, and this meant that they are correctly spaced for assembly later on. The exhaust system is all done in SMS stainless steel, and an aluminium colour is used for the gearbox and housing. Once the engine's fitted, the dashboard can go on. I found the internal ducting, which are solid parts, not flexible tubing. I found it a bit difficult to fit, and they're both held in place with CA glue. This is the other side of the dashboard. It was sprayed silver, then black wash was sort of flooded into the dials, and wiping the excess away revealed the needles and the numbers that are moulded into the gauges. The 3 front windshield struts are individual parts, which is good. Unfortunately, the rear struts are moulded into the rear glass. The body has to be flexed wider to fit over the chassis, and when I did get it to pop over, the model had a bit of a nose-up attitude that I wasn't expecting. So, the underside of the axles were filed back, and the hole in the back of each rim was also reprofiled to enable the wheel to fit higher and thus lowering the ride height of the car. The wheels are all fixed in place with 5-minute epoxy, which gives a bit of time to adjust their position regarding the alignment and camber. Time for the side glass, and this one didn't fit. I had to shave back part of the inner duct and also trim the end of the hose to get this to fit. The passenger side window is also a tricky fit as it has to slide into place with retaining edges on both sides. All the windows are held in place with crystal clear. This water-based glue dries clear, but as you can see here, it's white before it dries, which sort of makes for a temporary messy look. The same stuff is used to hold the trunk pins in place, and CA glue was used for the rear spoiler. Underneath, there's nothing really special here at all. It's reasonably neat and tidy, but it was never properly finished, as evidenced by the overspray, an undetailed coolant hose, and a few bolt heads and so on. Conclusion, nice kit, great decals, and the bright livery makes an average build look spectacular. This model was one of several I took to Model Expo 2026, which included the Fireball 500, a race-weathered Sauber Mercedes Le Mans winner, and Apex GP from the Brad Pitt F1 movie. There are build videos for all of these and the expo itself elsewhere on the channel, so go check them out. Cheers. Oh, and hit subscribe. Yeah, do that. Hit subscribe.